ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So today we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, entitled Krishna Chastises the Serpent Kaliya, text number 26. We will be taking the verses from 20 till 26, but because most of these verses don't have purport, so I'll be reading them. But right now we'll recite the last shlok, that is 26th one, which we are going to take today. एवं परिभ्रमहतौ जसम् उन्नतांसं वं परिभ्रमहत जसमता अन्नामया तत्पृथुशिरः सर्व अधिरुध आद्य तन्मूर्धरत्ननिकिरा स्पृशति ताम्र पादाम्बुज अखिल कलादिगुरुरनत्र एवं परिभ्रमहतौ जसम् उन्नतांसम् अन्नं मया तत्पृथुशिरः सर्व अधिरुधाद्य तन्मूढरत्ननिकरा स्पृशति ताम्र पादाम्बुज अखिल कलादिगुरुर्ननर्त एवं परिभ्रमहतौ जसम् उन्नतांसम् अन्नं मया तत्पृथुशिरः से अधिरुध आद्य तन्मूढरत्ननिकरा स्पशति ताम्र पादाम्बुज अखिल कालादिगुरुर्ननर्त Yes. नम्य तत्पृथुशिरस्व अधिरुध आद्य तन्मूर्धरत्ननिकरा स्पर्शति ताम्र पादाम्बुजो अखिलकलादिगुरुर्ननत्र Mataji's? Okay. Word to word meaning. Evam, in this way, Paribhrama, because of Lord's moving around him, Hata, spoiled, Ojasam, whose strength, Unnata, raised, high, Amsam, whose shoulders, Anamaya, making him bend down, Tat, his, Prithu, Shehasi, onto the broad heads, Adiruda, having climbed up, Adya, the ultimate origin of everything, Tat, his, Murdha, on the head, Ratna Nikara, the numerous jewels, Sparsha, because of touching, Ati Tamra, very much reddened, Padam Bhuja, whose lotus feet, Akhila Kala, of all arts, Adi Guru, the original spiritual master, Nanarta, began to dance. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Having severely depleted the serpent's strength with his restless circling, Sri Krishna, the origin of everything, pushed down Kaliya's raised shoulders and mounted his broad serpentine heads. Thus, Lord Sri Krishna, the original master of all the fine arts, began to dance, his lotus feet deeply reddened by the touch of the numerous jewels upon the serpents' heads. Purport. Shri Harivamsha states, Shiraha Swa Krishna Jagraha Swa Hastena Vanmaya. Krishna grabbed Kaliya's head with his hand and forced it down. Most people in this world are quite reluctant to bow down to the Supreme Person, the Absolute Truth. In the contaminated state, all material consciousness, called material consciousness, we conditioned souls become proud of our insignificant position and are thus reluctant to bow our heads before the Lord. Yet, just as Lord Krishna forcibly pushed Kaliya's head down and thus defeated him, the Supreme Lord's energy in the form of irresistible time kills all the conditioned souls and thus forces them to bow down their arrogant heads. We should therefore give up the artificial position of material life and become faithful servants of the Supreme Lord, enthusiastically bowing down at His lotus feet. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Lord Krishna's lotus feet become red like copper because of their contact with the numerous hard jewels upon the heads of Kaliya. Lord Krishna, with those glowing reddish feet, then began to demonstrate his artistic skills of dancing on the unsteady, moving surface of serpent's hood. This extraordinary demonstration of dancing skill was meant for the pleasure of the young women of Vrindavan who, at this phase of their relationship with Krishna, were seriously falling in love with him. Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana-Shalokya Chakshur-Unmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So today we'll take shlokas from number 20 to 26. I'll just read the translation for the shloka number 20. When the young gopis, whose minds were constantly attached to Krishna, the unlimited Supreme Lord, saw that he was now within the grasp of the serpent, they remembered his loving friendship his smiling glances, his talks with them, burning with the great sorrow, they saw the entire universe as void. Text number 21. Although the elder gopis were feeling just as much distress as she and were pouring forth a flood of sorrowful tears, they had to forcibly hold back Krishna's mother, whose consciousness was totally absorbed in her son. Standing like corpses with their eyes fixed upon his face, these gopis each took runs, recounting the pastimes of the darling of Vraja. So here we see again the goal of our spiritual life. The goal of our spiritual life, like here it is mentioned, their consciousness was totally absorbed, like Mother Yashoda's consciousness was totally absorbed in her son. And here in the 20th shloka it is said, Gopya Anurakta Manaso Bhagavati Anante. So Gopya Anurakta Manaso, their minds were constantly attached to Krishna. This is what we want in our spiritual life, in our practices, that our mind be completely attached to Krishna, which is completely opposite for the conditioned soul, that their minds are not at all attached to Krishna, rather their minds are very much attached to the me and mine, the very body they possess and the extensions of the body. That is what our minds are attached to. And that is the whole problem of this conditioned soul, and that's why they are miserable, because material life in itself is miserable and it's always like ever changing. That's why there is no peace, there is no happiness in such a situation. But the goal of spiritual life is Anurakta Manaso Bhagavati Anante, that how we can absorb our minds, how we can fill our hearts, our consciousness with the love of Krishna. This is the goal of spiritual life. Sa vai mana Krishna padara vindayo. This is what is actually expected from us. This is what we hanker for. But we see that all these great exalted personalities, all these great devotees of the Lord, when they are put into distressful conditions, what they take shelter of, like when we are put in distressful condition, our mind, our body immediately reacts. Our mind gets disturbed, our bodies get disturbed, we get sick. Immediately we get disturbed by the situation. But we see when they are put in distress, what they do? They take shelter of Krishna Katha. This is what is being told here. He was now within the grip of the serpent, and they remembered his loving friendship, his smiling glances, and his talks with them. Because when they saw Krishna in this situation, they were full of distress, they were full of like frustration, what is this situation now? Again it has come up, again this new demon has come up to devour and kill Krishna. So again they come into that frustration situation, again they are put into distress, and in any distress situation what they do, they like to take shelter of Krishna Katha. This is what we saw in my last class also. I had mentioned about it, that how the gopis, when they were left in the rasa dance, what did they do? They took shelter. When they were away from Krishna, what happened? They took shelter of Krishna Katha. So we see all these devotees, whenever they are away from Krishna and when they are specially put in a situation of distress, they immediately take shelter of Krishna Katha. That is their only solace. Like Arjuna, he was also recollecting the pastimes. In first canto, chapter 15, verse number 20, we see Arjuna also, when he was separated from Krishna, he says, now I am separated from my friend and my dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. Because he is his dearmost, he cannot think of separating himself from Krishna. But now when Krishna left the world and went back to his abode, we see Arjuna, he is feeling completely void in the whole world, full of relatives, friends, everything. He's completely feeling void just because Krishna has left him. So in such a situation, what does he do? Of course, he remembers all those situations. He's telling Yudhishthir Maharaj of all those situations when Krishna was present with him. In all those distressful situations, he's remembering when Krishna was there present with him and he never felt the distress. He was feeling great happiness, great joy. Why? Because Krishna is present with him. But now when Krishna is not there, he is feeling so much of distress. He's feeling as if everything is void, shunya. Shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Arjuna, his pure devotee of the Lord, they feel that situation. That yes, without Krishna, everything is void, everything is null. And he talks about it that in 15th chapter, verse number 20, that in his absence I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men, which I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna. I, the very same Gandiv bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna to whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them at the moment notice have become null and void. So he is remembering that is the same Gandiv, I am the same Arjun, and I have the same prowess, but this simple cowherd man defeated him when he wanted to take care of these wives of Krishna in Dwarka. Simple cowherd man came and he defeated Arjuna, and they didn't even have proper weapons. Simply by their sticks and all, they defeated Arjuna. So in that distressful situation, he's remembering Krishna. That when Krishna was present in my distressful situation, every time I was the winner. And I was very happy in those situations. But now when Krishna is not there, even the simplest of cowherd men also could defeat me very easily. And as he's remembering Krishna, as he's remembering each and every situation, he says that the only solace is Krishna Katha, that he is remembering all those pastimes, he is narrating all those things to Maharaj Yudhishthir, and that is how he is taking solace. So we see in every situation, any distressful situation, anywhere they feel like that void, null and void, what they do, they take shelter of Krishna Katha, and that is the best solace. That is how they are actually teaching us that what is the importance of Krishna Katha. How should we take Krishna Katha? How should we take this Srimad Bhagavatam class, which we have got? We have been very lucky living in the temple. Every day we get to listen Bhagavad Gita class in the evening, morning Bhagavatam class. How should we take it seriously? That they are talking about through their example. Even we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, Pradyumna Mishra, when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first time, he mentioned to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I want to hear about Lord Krishna's pastimes, kindly, tell me. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually glorifying Pradyumna Mishra for this desire. Jai Shri Shri Radharas Bihari ki, Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nidai ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. So we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was glorying Pradyumna Mishra for this great desire of his, this great want of his to hear Krishna Katha. It is said, Go Koti Danam Grahane Khagasya, Gokoti Danam Grahane Khagasya, that on a Grahan, on a eclipse day, you may give Koti Danam, Gokoti Danam, you can give millions and millions of cows on such an occasion. What a great merit you will receive. And Prayaga Gango Kalpavasa, that you can stay during Kalpa means not that Brahma's Kalpa, but you can stay for during the Kumbh Mela time, during Kumbh Mela in Prayag. Devotees, they go and stay in Prayag for a month also. So like that, if somebody stays for a kalpa, for a month there, that also is has got lot of credits, lot of merits. Yati yutam sumeru suvarna danam, that like a gold of, you may, like a mountain of gold you can give in donation to great brahmanas. What a merit it will be. But then it is said at the end, Govinda Kirtana Shatam Shatam se. Shatam Shatam se. Means all this is not equal to even 10 parts of the benefit which you will derive from hearing and chanting Govind Kirtan. This is the greatness of Govinda Kirtan. Once, actually during Prayag Mela, many people they go during Prayag na, for taking bath because they think they'll get liberation. I just remembered one pastime that Hamsuta Prabhu once, uh, he was there in Kumbh Mela time and he asked Srila Prabhupada that, by bathing in this confluence, will I get liberated? He said, yes, you will get liberated if you bathe in this confluence. So he took his gamcha and he was about to leave to take bath. And then Prabhupada said, stop there, you are already liberated, go and take my books and distribute. so, so I just remembered this pastime anyway. So that's the importance of Krishna Katha. What are these books of Srila Prabhupada? What are they doing? Why Prabhupada mentioned the importance of Krishna Katha through his books? He has put so much of his effort. Hardly used to sleep for 2 hours. Every night, in the mid of night, get up early, in that mid of night and do what? Translating all these scriptures. For whom? For us. For all of us conditioned souls, so that we take full advantage of this Krishna Katha, so that we can hear this Krishna Katha. That's why he wanted to translate this and give this jewel of Krishna Katha to us in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, once when he got very sick, they called a doctor. And this doctor came and he was checking, and he says that Maharaj is very much he spends most of his time in talking. He should reduce his talking, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very much famous for his Harikatha. He was like he used to always speak for 7 to 8 hours Harikatha. So that doctor said that is not good for his health. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that what is the use of this life if I don't do Harikatha? This life is meant for glorifying Lord Krishna. And if we don't use this valuable human life for glorifying Lord Krishna, if hearing about Harikatha, then what is the use of this life? So then he made him sit there and he preached for him for 1 hour, and then he got convinced. And then the disciples were saying that, this doctor came to diagnose his disease, but the doctor's disease was diagnosed and he was treated for it. So this is what is the potency of Harikatha, the importance of Harikatha. What is the importance of Harikatha? Because these two, 3 shlokas talk about it. That how these gopis, when they were put into distressful condition, what is their distressful condition? Seeing Krishna in distress, seeing Krishna in the coils of Kaliya was very much distressing for them, because for them it was, for us conditioned souls, when our body is put into such a problem, we feel that distress, we feel that tension, and that disturbs our mind, our body. But for Vrajavasis, it is not like that. Only when Krishna is put into such distress will they feel distress. Their own distress is no distress. Krishna's happiness is their happiness. Krishna's distress is their distress. This is what is Brajvasis. So they feeling this great distress when they are seeing Krishna's soft, tender body in the coils of Krishna, Kaliya. He's tightening his coils and he wants to squeeze Krishna's body, and they cannot take it because it is hurting, it is very much hurting them inside. They cannot take it. Text number 22. Lord Balram then saw that Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men who had dedicated their very lives to Krishna were beginning to enter the serpent's lake. And as Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Balram fully knew Lord Krishna's actual power, and therefore he restrained them. He knew, very well Balramji knew, that nothing can happen to Krishna. So he is very much cool, no problem. It's just a playtime for him. It's just he'll easily conquer him. Text number 23. The Lord remained for some time within the coils of the serpent imitating the behavior of an ordinary mortal. You see, this is like a great pastime for the Lord. He's just imitating like a mortal, like, as if, yes, you can take me in your grip and you can really squeeze me like that. But when he understood that the women, children, and other residents of his village of Gokula were in acute distress because of their love for him, their only shelter and goal in life, he immediately rose up from the bonds of Kaliya serpent. So he was actually enjoying this pastime with Kaliya. It is not that Krishna was in distress. Actually, he was enjoying this whole play with Kaliya, how he is trying to run behind and he's playing around in his coils and he's trying to, take a grip on Krishna, but Krishna's body is so soft, he just slips like that. So he's actually enjoying that all. But when he saw that his very friends, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, all of them feeling great distress because of their love for him, then Krishna understood, okay, let me not do this for a long time because, they are feeling great distress and now they cannot contain to that distress. And they are ready to commit even suicide. They want to jump in that Yamuna. They want to commit suicide. They cannot see it. For them it is too much because their heart is so much filled with love for Krishna. Because of that intensity of love, they cannot see Krishna in that way. When Krishna understood this distressful condition of the Vrajavasis, then he took that step of, immediately he rose up from the bonds of Kaliya's serpent. Then text number 24. His coils, tormented by the expanding body of Lord Kaliya, released him. Because now Kaliya couldn't take it. Because now Kaliya was put in distress. How? Because when he grabbed Krishna in his coils and tightened it, now Krishna started expanding himself. And the moment Krishna started expanding himself, Kaliya couldn't keep the grip. So now he is feeling the distress. Now Kaliya is put into distress. So see, everybody is now put into distress and how they are responding to it. In great anger, the serpent then raised his hoods high and stood still. Breathing heavily, his nostrils appeared like vessels for cooking poison, and the staring eyes in his face like the firebrands. Thus the serpent looked at the Lord. So when he was put into distress, when Kaliya was put into distress, he was not happy. He was definitely not very happy, and it arose his anger. And in that great anger, he's raised all his hoods and he's looking at Krishna as if he wants to, devour Krishna. He wants to bite Krishna with his venomous poison. And text number 25. Again and again, Kaliya licked his lips with his bifurcated tongues and he stared at Krishna with a glance full of terrible poisonous fire. But Krishna playfully circled around him, just as Garuda would play with a snake. In response, Kaliya, who moved about looking for an opportunity to bite the Lord. Purport: Lord Krishna moved around the serpent so skillfully that Kaliya could find no opportunity to bite him. Thus, the snake was defeated by Sri Krishna's transcendental agility. And then comes to our today's shloka number 26. Having severely depleted the serpent's strength with his relentless circling, Sri Krishna, the origin of everything, pushed down Kaliya's raised shoulders and mounted his broad serpentine heads. Thus Lord Krishna, the original master of all fine arts, began to dance, his lotus feet deeply reddened by the touch of the numerous jewels upon the serpent's head. So in today's shloka number 26, of course from 24, 25 and 26 we come to know that how is the demon's mentality? Because that's the main point. So Kaliya, when he was put into that distressful situation, how was he? He didn't want to surrender to Krishna. Rather, he raised all his hoods and he looked at Krishna so angrily and he wanted to bite Krishna and he wanted to put all that poisonous venom in Krishna's body. I want to kill Krishna. This is what is a demon's attitude. Demons don't want to surrender to the Lord. This is completely opposite to the Devatas, to the Suras, who want to completely surrender to Lord, especially in distressful situation, what they do? They immediately want to surrender to Lord. But demons are completely opposite of it. And this example is given here by Kalia. So we try to understand this demoniac propensity even in conditioned souls, that they don't want to surrender to Krishna. And that's how, so sometimes Krishna, like he allowed Kalia, he was playing with Kalia and he was allowing Kalia to, do what he wants to do. So sometimes like that, Krishna also allows conditioned souls who have demoniac propensities to enjoy. He also gives them some free will. Okay, take your free will, try to enjoy yourself. Because what it means to surrender to Krishna, it means that you are accepting his supremacy. That you are, Krishna is complete, he's Swarat, he's completely independent. And all the conditioned souls, they are completely dependent on him. But they don't like that situation. That's the demoniac mentality. They don't want to be dependent on Krishna. They don't want to accept his supremacy because they want supremacy. They want to enjoy independently of Krishna. And that is the problem. That is why they don't want to surrender to Krishna. And when Krishna sees that demoniac propensity in conditioned souls, what he does, he gives them the free will. Okay, you try. You try to enjoy yourself alone, away from me. And he gives them that free will to exercise. But still there is a control of law of karma. Because when you try to exercise your law, your free will and try to harm others, there is law of karma who is going to punish you for your wrong deeds. And here also in the purport, in the purports of the Acharyas it explained that how there is a control over the free will of the conditioned souls. The control is at the last point of their life, what comes? Death. Time I am. When the time is over, time is killing everything. And at the last point of their life, death is awaiting him. And what is death? That is also another form of Krishna. That's also another way of Krishna controlling all the conditioned souls. Because when they get their free will, they want to misuse their free will. And when they want to misuse their free will, it's going to be absolutely opposite for them. Opposite for their very existence actually. So that is why the only way to control such misuse is death. That's the final control of Krishna. So every conditioned soul actually is in this temporary situation. He has got a temporary form, a temporary position, but he wants to keep it forever. But that's not possible. That's why he gets frustrated. That's why there is distress in his life all the time. And then there is no solace for this. Unless he doesn't come to that understanding, there is no solace. That is why Durga Devi, she is there to give that tritap. Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adhyatmik Klesh. Why these kleshas are there? Because she is also performing the activities of like a guru. And she's making you understand through a hard time that you are not independent. You are dependent on Krishna. You cannot misuse your free will like that. So these distressful conditions are there for us to realize to that position that accept the supremacy of Krishna, accept the dependency of Krishna and surrender to him. Because these demons, they are completely stubborn, they are completely ignorant of this fact. That's why they don't like to surrender. They don't, because otherwise we have that intelligence. We have that intelligence to understand Shastra. Shastra very clearly speaks about this knowledge. Dehino asmin yatha deha kaumaram yovaram. Everything is very clear in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. All these scriptures talk about it very, very clearly. And we have that intelligence that we can understand. That is why the scriptures are meant for whom? Srila Prabhupada used to say, scriptures are not meant for cats and dogs. It is meant for human beings. So if humans don't take advantage of these scriptures, how will they come out of their ignorance? And the only way to come out of their ignorance is through accepting what is given in the scriptures. When they accept what is given in scriptures, they understand what is given in scriptures, and like that, if they mold their life, it will be very easy for them They will not have, they will understand how in distressful condition also, how are they supposed to behave, how are they supposed to handle it. But because they don't want to accept it, because they are so stubborn, they don't want to accept it, that's why they are suffering in this material world. Yeah. But they have that intelligence, they can understand, they can accept the supremacy of the Lord, but they are also lazy. Because of their laziness, they don't want to surrender. They are so much afraid, because if they surrender unto these teachings, then uh, their sense gratification will be curbed down. That's another problem with them. They are fearful of that. And then they are very lazy. Even if they understand and they want to take up that process, they are very lazy to take it up completely. They are very lazy to follow it also. And that's why that's the main problem of the conditioned souls. That they are very lazy to follow the Shastras. And they can progress fast, but they don't want to. That's another problem of it. Otherwise, Shastras are speaking the truth to you. But this truth only can be accepted by the conditioned soul when they have that faith that yes, what these Shastras are speaking is absolutely right because it is coming from Lord Krishna. That's how also they want to, if they accept His supremacy, then only they will surrender to these teachings of the scriptures. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was glorifying Pradyumna Mishra that you are the most fortunate person because you are ready to hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So you are most fortunate person. Remember, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India and he brought those two scriptures. Which were those two scriptures? Krishna Karnamrit. These were the two scriptures he brought from South India. And imagine in those days it was so difficult because they had to copy down. It's not that they are going to give the originals. And there was no Xeroxing or like, you can take photos and all that. No, nothing like that. It was, you had to handwrite another copy. And like that, Mahaprabhu had brought a handwritten copy. And then these copies were duplicated, handwritten. And they were many times supplied to all the devotees by one great devotee called Vijay Das, who was glorified by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He glorified as Ratna Bahu. You are like a jewel, crown jewel. He was doing such a great service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was completely impressed by that service of his. He was very quick in copying those scriptures and giving many copies and distributing it to all the devotees. So it was such a great difficulty in those days to get a scripture. And now, in our fast-age technology, where everything is available to us on our fingertips in this mobile. See, right now also on this mobile I have these Bhagavatam verses. So it's so easy now. But in our fast pace of holding on to this fast-paced technology, we have to be very careful that we should not somehow dilute our desire for Krishna Katha. So much of facilities are available through this technology. What for? For Krishna Katha. But if we don't take that advantage for Krishna Katha, then this technology is useless. Like the outside world. They are not using that technology for that purpose. What they are using their technology for? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. All their technological advancement is only boils down to these four things: eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So then it all becomes useless. Because anyway they can do it without that also. But it's just that it's in their heads that they want to do it in a very sophisticated way and they want to do it in a very technological way. So, but it does not matter because eating, sleeping, mating, defending is common between even animals and humans. So how does it matter, if you do it in a very techno-frank way? Anyway. So from a tattva point of view, one has to understand that even if so much of distress comes in a life of a devotee, all these distresses are finally the only way by which actually Lord Krishna is favoring them. Because you may see in this situation, when they are seeing Krishna in the coils of Kaliya, their intensity of love is increasing furthermore. And that's how they are pained at heart and so much of love, it's outpouring of love. They cannot contain that love. It's getting more and more intense. So this is how the Lord uses distress to intensify the love of their devotees. Like we saw even in gopis during Ras Leela, when the Lord left them and went, they took help of Krishna Katha, they intensified their emotions, they intensified their love by remembering Krishna so much, so much, so much, that the last point of time Krishna had to appear in front of them. So this is what distress becomes a favorable situation for devotees. Distressful condition may be very frustrating for people outside who have no connection with Krishna, but distressful condition for devotees is a very, very favorable way of increasing our intensity of love towards Krishna. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he always puts different devotees in such frustrating conditions. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's put Keshav Kashmiri in such a frustrated condition. He was completely bashed because he was thinking, Saraswati is sitting on his tongue. He can recite so many verses. He can just do. Great scholar of Sanskrit, but he was completely defeated by little Nimai in simple grammar. So he was put again in a frustrated situation, but that situation was needed to curb down the pride. Like here, he wants to curb down the pride of Kaliya. So like that, the Lord every time uses, whenever there is pride, like gopis also, he always uses because he doesn't like pride in devotees. So he uses that pride to curb down the pride. He uses such situation. He brings such frustration situations in the lives of the devotees. So sadhakas, they take every adversity to be the grace of the Lord. Because that helps them go closer and closer to Krishna. Like Narad Muni. When we talk about sadhaka's life, we see Narad Muni during his sadhaka period. His mother died. Suddenly she died by the bite of snake. And what was his age at that time? 4 or 5 years. What will the child do at that time? Where will he go? Such a frustrating situation, The mother is died, child is alone in the woods, don't know where to go, what to do. But that situation also Narad Muni recalled. He says that no, it is the will of the Lord. And it is a great mercy of the Lord upon me that this situation has come upon me. He immediately took it as a great opportunity to go closer to Krishna. He started walking north towards the Himalayas for doing tapasya in the jungle. And then again we see in his, as he's continuing his meditation, when he got that glimpse of the Lord, for a second, again he was put into that frustration. That I got the very darshan of the Lord, and now again the Lord has taken it away from me. So that is again for the same purpose, to increase the intensity of love in the hearts of the devotee. So every time the Lord brings this frustrating situation, this distressful situation, is for the only purpose so that devotee's love gets matured. Like Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj's situation, if we see, Parikshit Maharaj was a pure devotee of the Lord. He was beyond his hunger and thirst. And definitely Parikshit Maharaj, just because he was hungry and thirsty, he is not a person who is going to disrespect sadhus, brahmanas, because he knows the importance of them. Just like that, he got frustrated. You didn't welcome me. It's a very small thing, that I have come to your hermitage. You didn't welcome me. You didn't give me a straw of mat to sit. You didn't give me a glass of water. No sweet words. Such a frustrating situation. Not a big deal, because it's okay. What's the big deal in it? But getting frustrated by that situation, he immediately takes the dead snake, puts in around the neck of Samik Rishi. Do you think Parikshit Maharaj would ever do that, something like that? Because he knows how to respect cows, women, the importance of women, the importance of children, the importance of rishis, munis, brahmanas. He knows very well. And such a great Parikshit Maharaj, suddenly he does this. So it's a great will of the Lord. It is not that it's just happened by chance. No, it is a great will of the Lord, because the Lord, through that situation, wanted that what comes out? Srimad Bhagavatam comes out from that situation. Just like Arjuna. He was also put in a frustrating situation, distressful situation. And what came out? Bhagavad Gita came out. So like that, the Lord always uses such distressful and frustrating situations. Because of these situations, the intensity of their love arises, and such great things like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that comes up. Yeah. So Krishna uses such situations in the devotee's life. And his devotees, they never feel frustrated. Because if we see Parikshit Maharaj, he is telling to that Brahmanas, the rishis, that don't worry. You don't worry about me. I have taken full shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Krishna Katha. So I have no fear. And we see Sukadeva Goswami is telling him that now you are already liberated. And before even the snake comes and bites you, you'll be liberated. It's not that because of that snake bite that he died. No, he was already liberated. He already achieved the Parampadam. So these distressful situations are not actually a great deal for them. They can see each and every distressful situation as a very good favorable situation for them to intensify their love for Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, he gave us something called as Mukhya Vidhi and Gaunya Vidhi, because for us, for sadhakas, for conditioned souls who are into practice of sadhana, such distressful situations, such frustrations could not be so favorable for our practices. For them it is very favorable, but for us it will not be so. Recently our Prabhuji was put in such distressful condition. When you get suddenly affected by fever, malaria, dengue, what happens? Can you do easily bhakti? Govind Kumar Prabhu? Your mind can easily stay on? No. When we are put in such frustrating and distressful situation, it's not like that. When they are put, they can, but when we are put, it's not like that. So because it's our varna, it's our swabhav, for us it is not normal when we are put in a distressful condition. So that is why we need to maintain a very favorable situation, a complete balance. That is why the Lord is telling, that you have to have yuktahara viharasya, that everything should be balanced for us. Only in that balanced situation can we perform our practices of devotional service wonderfully. Otherwise it will be very difficult. That's why Prabhupada also gave us something called as Mukhya Vidhi and Gaunya Vidhi. Mukhya Vidhi is all about chanting, hearing, reading, worshipping deity. This is all Mukhya Vidhi. And Gaunya Vidhi means that which supports all this. Like in our Nectar of Instruction also, all the first 4 or 5 verses, it is all talking about Gaunya Vidhi. What is to deal with Dadati Prati Granati? Just giving gifts, accepting gifts, revealing your heart. What is all that to do with Krishna Prem? But no, that all is very important because it supports our bhakti. All the early morning getting up, first thing which they talk in Danta Dhawan, get up early morning, Danta Dhawan, brush your teeth, take your bath. What it means with bhakti? What it means with, how by doing that is your bhakti going to increase? How by keeping different fast, or because if you remember, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking to that Brahmana who was only drinking milk. He was chastising, Mahaprabhu was chastising him. He was telling him, do you think you will purchase me by just drinking 1 cup of milk? So such fastings which we keep, how is it all going to help us? Because it helps us by bringing to the mode of goodness, which is a step towards mode of pure goodness. So to come to that mode of goodness will help. By coming to that mode of goodness, everything will be in a balanced way, which will help us to practice our devotional practices very well. Otherwise, it is not that when we are put into distressing situation, we are also going to be happily practicing Krishna. It's not going to be so, because our swabhav is different. When we are put into distressful situation, we'll forget Krishna. So we should try as sadhakas at our level, understanding our situation, we should, not try to imitate Haridas Thakur. Now I'll also sit, chant 3 lakh. There are like that who are trying to imitate like that, but nothing happened. They tried to imitate that Haridas Thakur style. But what happened? Their mind completely revolted. So for us, such distressful situations are not so favorable, because it will cause a detrimental effect. We can even in a very, I have seen so many devotees, I know senior devotees, because so much of distress has come to their bodies that they left their ashram. They went back home because they couldn't stay even in the ashram. It was very difficult for them even to stay in the ashram and practice bhakti. Getting up early in the morning, chanting the 16 rounds was really difficult for them at times, because they stress their body so much, because so much of, when you read all these things, you come in so much of ecstasy, you want to stress your body to extend that, yes, it is all for Krishna's service, and then you don't even want to take care of it, and then you bring yourself into such a situation where it is full of distress, and that distressful situation will put you in, you cannot handle it. Then you will have to, then you at a point of time you think, what is this, Krishna is not favoring it, it means. And then you want to leave everything. So don't try to put yourself in such a situation. Though we read about such great exalted personalities like Bhishma Pitama put into such a frustrated situation, he can still sing those glories of the Lord, still can remember Krishna so purely. But if we were supposed to even get one arrow somewhere even at the toe of our leg, it's not like that we are going to remember Krishna. So we should not try to imitate those great personalities in that way. So for sadhakas, our practice is based on fear of sin and hope of reward. We are greatly fear of, any sins committed. That's why we don't want to commit sin, because we know that if I commit sin, then it will be very difficult for me to practice Krishna consciousness, because a sinful person's mentality is such that he cannot practice Krishna consciousness. So that is why also we fear to commit sins. And we want to do something special on certain days like Kartik, because we are always in the mode of hope of rewards. So we want to do some special austerities at some times, but that we do according to our own capacities, not beyond our capacities, to put ourselves in again distress. So we should understand that what is our position, and according to that position we should practice Krishna consciousness in a very favorable situation, so that slowly we come to that position where one day we can easily perform devotional service in a very spontaneous manner. So that is what we actually aspire for. Anyway, time is up, and if somebody wants to give a comment or one question, I can take. Any one question or one comment? Yeah, that's why I was saying that that's why I said that to perform bhakti for us conditioned souls, it is very important that we maintain a very favorable situation. It is very important. Because if we are put into very distressful situations like Pandavas were put, like Draupadi was put, disrobed in the whole assembly, even at that point of time she can remember Krishna. So such situations when we come to the such situation, it's not possible. That's why try to maintain a very favorable situation for devotional service. That's why try to balance, keep yourself in balance, understand your swabhava, and accordingly try to perform devotional service under the guidance of experts, under the guidance of spiritual master or your counselor. They can help us. Okay, it's time up. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण, हरे कृष्ण। हेमगिरी दास।